Would you like to start off by introducing yourself? That'd be fab.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Thomas, I'm CEO at the Outhouse, and we offer a range of wellbeing support to the LGBTQ plus community, from social support groups to counselling and then wellbeing support. So just check-ins with community members.
Amazing. We're going to start off with the first question. Why do you think it's important to talk about men's mental health?
I think it's a long-standing taboo, talking about men's mental health. So we kind of need to break down those barriers of toxic masculinity and feeling like we're vulnerable in talking about our emotions. I think we're all emotional beings. Some of us keep them locked up. That's not good for us. It's important to talk about them to your friends. If you don't feel confident talking to your friends about it, then that's when you seek services like Mind and the Outhouse, where you can access counselling for more detailed discussions, I guess.
How do you take care of your own well-being, especially during stressful times?
I think taking care of your mental health is a degree of support. So they're things that I reach out to family members about. There's things that I have friends that I talk to. I've got a really good WhatsApp group of mates. We all live around the country, so we'll like send each other like little SOSs like, this is bothering me, what should I do about it? And I think that human contact is really important. I know a lot of people nowadays might turn to something like ChatGPT for advice, but there's something really important about human interaction and your friends knowing like a temperature check of where you're at. So I think that's really important, that we keep our friends up to date with where we're at, and likewise when someone reaches out to you and says, I'm struggling, or a friend might have gone quiet for a couple of weeks or a month and they're usually really active in a group, that's the time when you kind of go, well, I need to check in on them. But yeah, sort of supporting my own mental health. I try and do exercise as much as possible. I'd like to say I eat healthy, but sometimes that's not always possible if work-life balance is busy. And then taking just time out. I think some of us, you can feel stressed and you'll turn to your mobile phone for distraction, but sometimes you just need to sit with your feelings and realise that you are feeling a certain type of way, and how you go about addressing that.
What does looking after your mental health mean to you?
Yeah, I think looking after your well-being is just as important as looking after your physical health. It's just as important as earning a salary and paying your bills. Our well-being and our mind is what keeps us getting out of bed in the morning, what keeps us ticking along throughout the day. So you've got to look after yourselves. And as men, we're not as good at it. So yeah, I definitely think that we need to raise awareness and make sure people are putting themselves first, and to realise that that's not selfish, that's not less masculine. It's an essential part of looking after yourself.
For sure. Why do you think some men still find it hard to talk about how they're feeling?
Yeah, I think that's sort of long-standing and historical. Maybe our role parents, they didn't talk about feelings and emotions. Society's changing. I think men talk about emotions a bit more than they used to, but there's definitely that sort of stiff upper lip attitude that's always sort of been passed down generationally, especially coming from a queer perspective. You might have been told in your life, like, don't get upset, don't show emotion, and so therefore being masculine is keeping those emotions in. And I think that's definitely a cycle that we need to break. And again, like men's mental health, looking after your mental health means you're better for the people around you. So if you are a man struggling with mental health, you might be going home and taking that out on your family. You might be going home and passing that frustration on to colleagues and whatnot. I think it's really important to talk about how you're feeling with the people you trust.
Yeah. What would you say to a mate who's struggling but doesn't feel able to speak up?
Yeah, I've had this scenario a couple of times, so that it is that person who might go quiet on the phone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess just check in, really simple text, are you alright, or are you free later for a call, or just, as people don't nowadays, just calling them out of the blue and hoping that they pick up. But yeah, I think it's looking for those signs, and they can be really subtle. Yeah, so I think it's that bit about struggling to speak up. I think you've got to prompt them, and it might be finding the right scenario to do that in. I often find when you're driving along in a car and you're both facing the same direction, that's a great time to have more deeper, meaningful questions, because someone feels less interviewed or put on the spot. Or it could be whether it's taking your mate down the pub and having a couple of pints, or if it's going and watching the football, not that I know what that looks like, watching RuPaul's Drag Race, or just like finding a common ground, and just checking in around doing something. Because I think once someone opens up a little bit, they'll open up a little bit more, and it's just sometimes just cracking the lid, and yeah, giving them the space to feel safe. Showing emotion is not a weakness. It might be showing an ounce of vulnerability, but we're all human, and we all have anger, and we all have sadness, and we all have, you know, a plethora of emotions. And I think that, you know, guys, we need to step up and realise it's okay to talk about how you're feeling. And that's a great role model to teach for your children, that your children are not going to go through life bottling up emotions. It's okay to feel. So in terms of the services that we offer here at the Outhouse, so we've got support groups. There's a whole range of different groups that are happening throughout the month, so you can check them out on our website. Specifically, we've got a men's social group, and that's for anybody who identifies as male. We run wellbeing check-ins with community members. So you might have just had a difficult week and there's something that you need to check in, or you might need advice on something. So our wellbeing officer, Harry, can support with that. And then lastly, we offer counselling, so low cost counselling for up to 20 sessions for community members who are looking to explore things like internalised homophobia, transphobia, issues they may have had with their family, or a whole range of stuff that people need to get off their chest.